Top of the morning. God bless each and every one of you guys. It's Fishing Friday, baby. Hope you're having a great day. But look, I'm going to keep it brief. I'm on here a little late this morning. I was waiting on my daughter. I was going to see if she wanted something to eat this morning, but she's so concerned about how her hair looks. But shout out to the ladies. Happy early Mother's Day to each and every one of you mothers out there. Mama, I love you. I hope you have a good Mother's Day. And First Lady, you already know, baby, I love you. But I'm so grateful for my mom. And I'm pretty sure each of us are. And prayers to those of you who may have lost your mother. We lost my granny a little over a year and some change ago. So I know my mom, I just want to make sure that I give her as much love as possible because we only get one. So thank God for all of the mothers out there. But today I just want to share something with you guys because I am a little late. First of all, let me get these banners off of here this morning. But let me share this with you guys because I noticed a shift in how I was trading yesterday because of how we aligned ourselves with the Word of God. It was amazing how this was given to me. And I felt that it was absolutely necessary this morning for me to actually give it to you today because I want to see you win first in your soul, your mindset, of course, and also in trading. But I have to share this. Proverbs 3, we've read this so much, but it hits different when that bell rings, right? Right here, verse 5, it says, trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways, submit to him, and he will make your path straight. Do not be wise in your own eyes. Fear the Lord and shun from evil. And understanding that the Lord is your source is the most important thing out of all of this, right? Understanding that God will provide, that he is a way maker, he is a miracle worker, he is a promise keeper, just like the song has told us time and time again. But it's something that happens if we are not acknowledging him before we start trading, right? I mean, it's one thing to do it here with godly mindset, but it's another thing to do it when you're on your own, when you don't have anybody necessarily holding your hand or pushing you to that point. Know that God's word is a weapon, just like prayer is a weapon. And when we connect to it, when we trust him, when we use what he has given us, there is power released in everything that we do. And this is where profitability comes in. So I want this for you. And I pray that you are able to jot this down. Proverbs 3, 5 through 7. You can put the whole proverb down if you want to. But it has literally blessed me, and I am now opening up a routine of declaring the scripture before I even start executing trades, right? So we already got it once. We're going to have a double dose today on our Fishing Friday Elite and Red E trading at opening bell today that will last until about 12 Eastern. So it's just amazing, man. Shout out to those of you who were with us on yesterday when we were cooking with this bad boy. That being said, we're going to move right on over to the futures. I want to take a look and see what's going on today. And we'll just move through this quick so I can get to your questions. So real quick, the futures are looking relatively flat. They're green on the S&P and NASDAQ. But it's not super solid just yet, right? Asian markets are opening up flat or are relatively flat right now as well. European stocks are green, but also flat. The VIX is down, which is good, but gold is back up to $3,331.10. And silver's at $32.63. I'm just waiting for silver to catch up, man. We bought a lot of silver and gold back in the day. So, yeah, we're just waiting on that thing to catch up. As we look at this, the futures, we always like to take a quick glimpse at the fear and greed level. We're heavy on greed, 62%. And as we navigate over to our top stock market headlines today, we'll probably see that Donald Trump says now's the time to buy stocks. If you hadn't seen it here, it's literally all over social media. Everybody and their mama sharing it, right? He said buy stocks because we're going to see higher highs than we've ever seen before, right? So that's one of the top headlines. Cargo thieves are attacking the U.S. supply chain. Palantir now among the top 10 most valuable companies. I'm sure Palantir and Pegasus are because they're listening to everything that we say, right? I hate to go conspiracy related here. Boeing gets a price target hike from UBS, says the airplane maker can navigate tariff risk. Shout out to the Red E Society for saying, hey, look, we need to start looking at the airline industry. Y'all were cooking yesterday. In fact, all of us were. But, you know, once I make my money, I'm done for the day. I like to just sit back and watch, right? That's how you have balance and you stay green. You have to trick yourself, right? So we're going to talk a lot about that in the Red E University as well. So shout out to each of you guys. We're going to do a mentorship just for Red E members only, right? Red E members will have an exclusive access to mentorship. I'm doing the first one completely free for members, right? I decided not to open it up to the public this year, but next year we might open it up to the public. It's a 15-week program, one night a week. That's all I'm asking for. So it's going to be lit. Shout out to those of you in the Red E. All right. So real quick, let's get your biggest gainers and losers, and then we're going to go right over to your questions. You'll be able to put those in the chat. So right now, biggest gainers and losers for the day. You got Carvana, Hood, Palantir, Delta Airlines, and CTVA. You guys can see it. Mercado Libre is still cooking very beautifully. Coinbase had earnings on yesterday. They may actually be down this morning, but we'll take a look. FTNT is down. ARG, COR, ALNY, and TAK also down this morning. A lot of insider buys here. Not really something that I'm looking at today. Let's go take a look at the options right now. These are your lotto plays, the cheap plays that you can buy or that are being bought up. You can see them right now. Screenshot this right now. It's not financial advice, of course, but you see they're actually buying puts on SPY, calls on VOD, Run, KWeb, and Grab. Interesting. Now they're starting to buy calls on SPX. Again, we saw that on yesterday. And, of course, those calls on Nvidia. So this is all a really good sign for the lotto plays, and hopefully you guys can print some money with those. I'm going to pull up one more thing here I don't normally do. Let's get the dark pool data. These are things that are being bought up before the market opens, before you and I can even have the ability to lock in on these things. But these are some plays that you might want to look at or look into today. So I would suggest you maybe screenshotting these as well. All right, so let's get to it. Now it's time for the questions and answers. I'm so sorry about all the noise going off. I literally don't have anything that I wanted to personally cover for you guys today because I want you to have the floor. All right. So right now I'm taking a look at the comments. I'm trying to see what you guys have listed. If you have a question about a ticker or something you want me to analyze, now's the time to ask, or I will start moving. Now, I did have a request, and I love this one. I'm glad somebody did it because I wanted this to be about you. Let's talk about crypto, baby. Crypto is going crazy. My alerts have been going off all night, all morning. XRP's back to $2.40. Ethereum's at 2,300. Bitcoin, baby, at 103.03675. It's still pumping right now. And it looks like Sui's at 398, Stellar's at 30 cents, HBAR's back to 20 cents. I want to see 22 cents. So if you guys have a specific crypto, I'll do TA on it, but crypto is looking really good. One thing I'll say is you always want to kind of look at the news. I like going over to cryptopanic.com just to see the most relevant news. So let's see. Treasury Secretary blasts the Genius Act for stablecoin regulation, stalls a partisan. What is this? I guess it hid the title of the article. Stalls amid partisan tensions, right? So interesting stuff happening here. The United States Senate decision to halt the progress of the Genius Act on Thursday has ignited a firestorm of criticism, with the Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent leading the charge. Interesting. So I'm going to have to circle back and look at this, but it doesn't matter. Crypto is going crazy right now. You go take a look at the crypto bubbles right now. They are all literally green. Let's go pull them up so you can see for yourself. CryptoBubbles.net are looking at our market cap. Look at that. We are all green on the large market cap. Hourly, we did have a little bit of pullback on a few things, but Ethereum's up 20% right now. Quite interesting. Looking at the hourly, this is what we got cooking. I love the fact that Solana's at $171 right now. So I'm really excited about that. All right, so let's move on. Great morning, Mark. Do you have any idea why MST price dropped right before the dividend payout? I think it was $25 and went around to $23.50 something. So let's look at it. I think I did get an alert that the price of MSTY was going down, but I wasn't watching it. So let's just look. All right. So right now on the 30-minute is down to $23.85. It was at $24. Let's see where MicroStrategy is. MicroStrategy was running yesterday. So MicroStrategy also pulled back and went from 425. That was yesterday. Let's see, Thursday. So Thursday, MicroStrategy was up to 422, and then it went down. And you have to always keep in mind with my MSTY, it follows MicroStrategy, okay? It follows MicroStrategy. So if MicroStrategy falls or dips or goes up, it literally does the same thing. So we have to keep in mind that those trends are always going to be mirrors, right? Just like MicroStrategy will mostly follow Bitcoin, but we're still very bullish on MSTY. So that little pullback was literally nothing. And when that dividend comes out, what do most people do with dividends, right? Reinvest them. So I see all that as an opportunity just to add more. More than likely, people were buying more MicroStrategy calls because MicroStrategy was cooking for us on yesterday. It literally pulled back to at least 406. We played some shorts on it, and then it ran back up right to 422 yesterday. MicroStrategy was not playing any games. So yeah, I mean, it's just going to follow MicroStrategy. So just to answer your question, that is why. All right. Henry. All right, here we go. He says, my camera's off. Here we go. When does the mentorship program start? It begins on the 27th of May. The 27th of May. It's every Tuesday at 6 p.m. It's 5:45 p.m. It's exclusively only available to be registered through the Red E Society only this time. I mean, if you want to just pay $500 for it, then DM me, but I'd rather you just come on into the Red E and get it for the free. All right. But yes, that's when it starts. So can I take a look at Google, please? Absolutely. GOOGL, right? Google fell hard, and I'm going to tell you, Google was annoying for me yesterday. I had some puts thinking that we were going to fill this gap down on Google that you can see from 153.35 down to 153.04. We actually did wick down into that gap early yesterday morning, but it then established a buy signal and ran up, and then it's now consolidated literally between 154.25 and roughly about 155.95. We may actually hold between 154-ish all the way up to that 155 and slowly start to move back up on Google because it is a good long-term value stock, right? We look at the daily, of course, we'll see that, it's still on a downtrend overall, but there's a lot of liquidity to the upside on Google. And this pullback has created a great long-term buying opportunity for Google. We can't leave out the fact that Google is YouTube, right? What do most people look at? These kids, adults, when we need to find something, of course we can Google it, but we got YouTube associated with Google, Alphabet. And so it's a solid company, right? So I see this as a good long-term investment. Now, intraday, if you choose to day trade it, I personally don't recommend it. It looks very, very choppy. But if I did have an entry point for puts, I take anything right below that 154.09, at least start watching it from there. And then if we could fall below that 154.09, the first level is 153.96. And then possibly we'll have a liquidity grab down here to 153.85 to the downside on Google. Now, upside momentum, we want calls at 154.84. But like I said, we've got a lot of consolidation happening here, at least up until 155.35. 155.35 would indicate a nice breakout possibility for Google intraday, but we're mostly pushing down right now or either consolidating. But we have a sell signal, so it's bearish. But I would love for it to get back to this liquidity level of 165.09. If you're looking for leaps or swing trades on this one, I do like that out of the money play, 165 at least. I'll say about not 9 months, but at least to the end of the year, those December contracts in that 165 or even up to 185 strike on Google, because this is a value stock. Looking at the analyst, they do say this should be $201 before the end of the year, $250 by next year. It could be higher than that, right? The next earnings are not scheduled until July the 29th. And real quick, I'll go a step further for you on Google and take a look at the seasonality for you, because that's also something to consider. Excuse me. All right, so looking at the seasonality, normally May has a 75% win rate for Google and 81% win rate in July, and January has an 81.82% win rate. So maybe they're trying to kind of tip the scale a little bit, but we're still literally getting to the middle of May. Mondays are typically more bullish days for Google, and around 10, 12, and 3 o'clock Eastern are usually the best times for Google to move on the market on average, right? So, I mean, again, I do like this as a swing trade, and I think this dip has created a good buying opportunity for you, Junior Diaz. Good morning to you, Charlito. Marquise, good morning. Good morning, my brother. Have a blessed day to you as well. Gulf Coast Pest Control, good morning. Ranger, good morning. After crypto, would like to know about Coinbase stocks. Great. All right, so let's take a look at Coin. All right, and I know how you got that, so I'm just going to hide that for you. All right, so let's look at Coinbase right now for my brother Charlito. I hope I'm saying that right. But Coinbase has pulled back a little bit today, and it's actually consolidated. They had earnings on yesterday. Just as I'm looking at it right now, it's moving a little sideways. We're staying in between 203.02 and roughly 204.48. I like call option entry at that 204. I'll just say 204.50 to be on the safe side. And then I would take puts at 202.82. And why? Well, there's a gap from 202.79 to about $200.99. Now we likely can hold this level that we have right now, but there's a possibility that if we lose it, that we do come down to that 202.79 and fill that gap. There's a liquidity grab to the upside short term at 204.13. But honestly, Coinbase is mostly bearish right now based on their earnings report. Maybe when Bitcoin goes to $120,000, it pushes it back to its prior high of about 210.50 because it did run before earnings yesterday. But right now, it looks mostly bearish at the moment. We still overall have a bull flag here on the daily. Well, that was a 390-minute. But looking at the daily right now, it's still relatively bullish, despite it's where it is pre-market. But we've got to break above that $211 for it to really start to run. Again, I think that all of these pullbacks have created some dynamic buying opportunities for the long term. I would like to see that $230.72 at least by, say, July or August of this year. I'll give you guys the seasonality for Coinbase as well, because right now, again, with everything happening with this crypto bill that they're trying to pass, and of course, just geopolitically, it's just slow, right? October is usually a really good month for Coinbase, and so is August. So if anything, I'd be looking at anything after October, like December or January 2026, to be honest with you, right? But I think, again, this has created a good long-term buying opportunity. I know we're probably tired of hearing that, but the president told us yesterday, now's the time to buy stocks. But just be careful, because there are some gap downs, and I hope that those levels I gave you give you a roadmap on how you want to trade it, Charlito. All right, so let's look at Intel and Oscar, right? Shout out to Mr. Fallback for that Oscar play that he dropped in the red E, man, dude. That thing is cooking. It's been moving consistently, right? And I know Angel, he's been talking about Intel since before earnings, right? They have a change of leadership. So Intel right now is very consolidated at that $21 price per share. I don't see it coming back down to this $20.47 strike, but understand there is a gap down from 2047 to 2029 on the 30-minute time frame. As I zoom out, we are still mostly bullish, even looking at the Fibonacci's. We need this thing to break above 2131. I think for shares, this is a great price because the long-term valuation could be very high, even though analysts are only calling for this thing to trade at $23 right now. But long-term, they're saying $100 at least by the end of next year. As artificial intelligence and quantum computing is rolled out, I still think that Intel will be a big player in this, right? Even looking at this 390-minute time frame, there is a buy signal present, and there's a liquidity grab to the upside around $21.73. So it's just moving very slow, but I think in this slow momentum, it is creating some good potential buying opportunity for the long term. Now on the daily time frame, and even our daily Fibonacci's are bullish. I can see Intel going to maybe 2243. Again, this is a very slow one, but at these prices, you can load up on shares and play it safe because the market will be fluctuating a little bit, at least until July, in my opinion. So I would rather you stay ready than not having to get ready, okay? Now, Intel doesn't have earnings until July the 24th, so you got a little bit of time, but also I'm going to zoom out here to the weekly for you. The weekly still technically has us in a bearish trend. So we can literally consider most everything a bounce. And for now, just know that everything will change once we hit $24.67, okay? And a complete breakout will happen at $27.68, and then we'll start to see Intel begin to manifest those higher prices for us, okay? But again, I like this more so for swings than day trades. Now, on your other one, Oscar, again, has been running. I think it had a new weekly high or something like that is what Mr. Fallback was saying the other day. But it literally ran up to about 1870 after hours, I believe. That was on Thursday. Actually, that was pre-market. Thursday, it was starting to run. And then it started to kind of sell off. We had a sell signal come in here on the 130-minute time frame. And it looks like it's consolidating, but there's liquidity to the downside at 1695. So if you decide to play any puts, I would start watching it below 1694 with the target of roughly 1646, about down to about 1577. But all in all, it looks like Oscar wants to go. If we could break the 1826, I think it could start to push back up a little bit more. There's a liquidity grab up to 1893 that I would be watching for on Oscar. And also, if we can reach the prior high, let's just go to the weekly for a second. The prior weekly was around, 2371. And then there's another all-time up here at 3682. But from what I've been reading lately is healthcare is what you want to be watching or positioning yourselves in. And also just based on what happened with the EU on with the tariff deal, that healthcare, steel, and a few other things are also some things you might want to watch. So I think that Oscar can definitely benefit from that tremendously. Analysts actually say this is neutral with a 1956 price target. I actually want to go a little deeper on this one too, AOCSR. And as I'm looking at Oscar, let's see if it has any seasonality. You know, I'm usually writing these things down as we do it. So we covered Coinbase today. We looked at crypto. Hold on one second. Crypto, coin, MSTY, Oscar, and Intel. All right. So I'm not getting any details here on that, but yeah, I think this is a good opportunity for maybe some shares or some light squeezes to the upside. All right, TNXP is the next one on the list this morning that someone asked about. That's Marco. Good morning to you, Marco. So let's take a look at this. This thing's been consolidated. I've got a few alerts on TNXP, Tonix Pharmaceuticals, over the past week and a half or so. As I'm looking at it now, it's mostly bearish, and it could actually push down to about 1822. But I'm looking at the price action, and it's been pretty consolidated between that $18 and roughly about $19 for the past couple of days, right? We fell, what date is this on? May the 6th, started to pull back. And it looks like we're still just kind of trending down and maybe just trading a little sideways. There's liquidity down to $18.54 on TNXP, and it could actually come down a little bit lower if we lose support right around $18.26 to about $18 even. But I think that at that point, they'll probably push it back up. There's still been a lot of buying on this one. It's well off of the highs. We've got bearish Fibonacci's, right? The high was around $21.95. We look at the daily right now. The daily did look like it was going to start establishing a golden cross, but it is not there yet on the daily. But it is still listed as mostly bearish. There are also a lot of gaps on this thing all over the place. We actually filled a couple of them already as I'm just kind of looking at this. This one is mostly bearish for the long term. Earnings are coming up in the next 3 days, May the 12th. I actually wouldn't mind sniping this one after earnings, but if at these prices right here, it wouldn't hurt to maybe grab some shares or just take a light position for the long term and see how it moves. Just looking at the income statements and everything, they do list this as a strong buy with a $70 price target before the end of the year. That's quite interesting, but this is only rated by one analyst. So looking at the volume on here, it only has 835.45 thousand in volume. And what they do is they're working on a gastric cancer model for the American Association of Cancer Research. They presented something at that meeting, and it says they discontinued enrollment and terminated phase 2 of a catalyst study on what? Let's see. What does that even mean? So, I mean, again, this is in the pharmaceutical sector. So, again, what we've been reading in the past 24 hours is that pharmaceuticals will do well with this deal with the UK. But again, we just have to wait and see. All right. Palantir, PLTR. All right. Sorry. I got notes all over the place. So I took gains on my Palantir play yesterday. I just can't. If I see something just switching up, I just can't stay in it. Okay. I'm sorry. Not sorry. No, I'm not sorry. But Palantir, we need to see it break that 120.40. We're consolidated. We've broken it or touched it once before. And we were up to at least 125 not too long ago. We even touched 130 for a minute. And we're struggling to get to that 125. But I think that it's going to happen, right? Palantir is one of the most valuable companies, as we just read in the stock market news this morning, right? But we also have to keep in mind that we still got a lot of choppiness. Maybe this dip has created another buying opportunity for you to get in those leaps, the 160 strike on Palantir. I'm just kind of curious now, if we go into the options data for Palantir, like what lotto plays are they buying? When I say they, other people, right? So let's look at Palantir, and we can just see that they were buying the $110 puts on yesterday. Let's scroll down here to the bottom. So as far as leaps are concerned, they're buying the 170 calls. For January 16, 2026, there was $1.63 million of premium spent on that leap. There's another leap for December 17, 2027 in the money, 110 calls, $1.8 million spent on those. And September 2025, 115 calls. June 20th, 2025, 130 calls. But it looks like puts have been the most dominant for Palantir. Again, when the news starts talking positive about it, I get a little nervous, right? So let's look at what to do today, right? So depending on what happens, we might have this thing drop to about 118.75. That would actually be my entry point for puts for a day trade with a price target of about 117.80 on Palantir. If we want calls on Palantir, of course, we could buy it at the dip, and if it doesn't dip, then we want to see it break out above at least 119.43 to start watching it. And then, of course, confirmed entry or confirmed kill zone. Right here at about 19.95, we know we're going to run and probably get that $20, 120 or above at that particular point. But I think that those 160 leaps will do well because, again, Palantir is listed as one of the most valuable companies for 2025. We still got bearish Fibonacci's on this 390-minute time frame. frame, and we need to see this thing really be above that 120.86 and roughly 122.69 to get that confirmation. So I'll say 122.69 would be my upside target, but time will be your best friend. Just understand that it's kind of choppy right now, and I would just try to catch that dip because it is going to possibly pull back. It's already down a little bit pre-market. The volume is around 113.5 million on Palantir, which is pretty dope. All right. Which penny stocks do you recommend for a day trade for a beginner like myself? So in my opinion, penny stocks are not day trade worthy. But if you are looking for some good penny stocks, I would start by going over to finviz.com. A lot of these that they list on the front page usually are penny stocks. Anything under $10, in my opinion, is considered a penny stock. But if you ask me what I like right now, I would say, all the miners, CleanSpark, Wolf. Oh, that's not it. I think Wolf has earnings this morning. Wolf, and they're all down today. Mara, Riot, Hive. These are all what I like. And I'll even throw in QBTS, some quantum computing plays, RGTI. All right. Anything, again, under $10 would be your penny stock. So, and again, I wouldn't look at those as day trades because, again, when you talk about penny stocks, Trishan, I hope I'm saying that right. I don't know. I apologize if I fumbled your name. But when you talk about these penny stocks, my friend, you've got to be just cognizant of the fact that they're not going to move super fast, right? They're not going to move super fast. They're going to move very slow. I remember for a while, like way back in the day, I was buying this one called PHIL, penny stock out of the Philippines. And I mean, it ran up really nice for me at one point, but then look at this chart. It's like, is this even real, right? The candles are like, it's like somebody's making a code or something like that. So that's why I don't really like the over-the-counter pink sheet penny stocks any longer. But again, if you want to find some good ones, finviz.com main page has a whole bunch of them that they usually post every day, and they tell you the trend, like VEE, ZKIN. Like I don't usually trade these, but if I was a beginner and just trying to buy some shares or something, that may be kind of what I would do. All right. I'm pretty sure you guys could put a few more other suggestions for Trishan. I hope I'm saying it right. But you can put some more suggestions in the comments for us or drop them in the red E. But I like your question, okay? I'll try to post a few suggestions. If somebody in the red E drops some penny stocks and tag me, I'll share those to my YouTube. I think Trishan is a member there, and I'll make sure that he gets them. All right. So taking a look at the next question, will SPY's US UK tariff talk momentum continue today? So when I looked at SPY this morning, it did start to pull back. ES was up, but SPY was coming down a little bit. It's relatively flat this morning. As we looked at those futures, everything looks like it was sideways. So SPY's actually come off the highs of 569. I didn't swing a lot of capital at all. I took a lot of profits on yesterday, right? So as a result, I'm just going to watch the market a little bit this morning. I'm not sure if I want to trade SPY. Yesterday, I had a really great day because I didn't trade SPY. So, and also, when I am trading SPY, now I'm gonna be a little bit more disciplined with myself and give myself more time. It's been a crazy week, right? So I hope the momentum continues, but with the president telling us now's the time to buy stocks, we still got a little bit of volatility in our political system and then a little bit of geopolitical issues as well. Still thoughts from our Truth Social indicator with Trump talking or whatever about the 80% tariff looking pretty reasonable with China. and all this stuff. I think that there's a lot of details out there, but until those negotiations happen on Saturday and we get the news on it, I think SPY may actually be flat and relatively choppy today. I didn't mean to do that, but I will give you some levels on it since we're here on what to look for, when to get in if you choose to, right? Looks like we got some liquidity at 566.87. So if we break that, we might push up to at least at 567, and then we had a high of about 567.99 a day. I would like for us to break that price. And if we can break that price, we might run up. Puts on SPY, I probably would start taking them around 565.77. They may not be like a big drop because we've already kind of caught some support to the downside at 564.03, but we could possibly visit 565.53 or maybe 565.20. But if we lose that 565.20, then we're going to keep pushing down and could possibly come back to support. We'll zoom out to the 65-minute time frame, and this does appear that we're holding I guess this would be roughly around between a 50 and 72 EMA. And then we've got a 200 EMA right there with it. And it looks like we're just kind of coasting at this moment. This actually kind of looks like a head and shoulders pattern, indicating that we would actually go down. And we do actually have bearish Fibonacci's right here, looking at the chart. So you got that one at the top, you see? All right, we're pushing down here on the 65-minute. So again, I would just kind of watch it because you're going to get mixed signals on most time frames, and I would just buy time if you do decide to play SPY today. But I think it's going to be flat. All right, just for now. All right. Good morning, Mariana. Good morning, Mark. Can you peep Amazon for me, please? I would be honored to look at Amazon for you. All right, looking at if I could just put the ticker in, right? All right, if you're in swings on Amazon with me, congratulations. I need to stay in the breakout above that 194.31. We've still been on a pretty decent uptrend on Amazon. It still has been choppy. My target was 199.03 for it to really start running. There's liquidity right above that at 199.79, so we actually could reject it if we end up pushing up a little bit because they probably don't want it to hit 200. Amazon doesn't have earnings until July the 31st. I think I'm still in some swings out to July on my Amazon play. They're down pretty bad right now. And I haven't averaged down on them yet because I'm just not confident in the upside yet. I should actually buy some more, but I need to see this thing break 194.31. I like Amazon for swings more so than day trading because, again, just everything is happening globally. And this is part of the Mag 7. All right. So looking at our 1-day time frame, we're still technically bearish, right? We're below the 200 EMA, and things won't change until we get above that 194.43. And again, most of our liquidity levels are already here, 198.41, and then there's that 201.60 that I would love to see. But again, long term, I think that we're going to pump on Amazon. Remember, when we looked at Amazon in the past, we checked the seasonality of it. July and November typically are the best months for Amazon. All right, so let's get this pulled up for you. You can see it here. Amazon, 75% win rate in July and 80% win rate in November. Why is that? Prime, Amazon Prime days, right? Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday tend to be better days for Amazon for daily seasonality. And it appears right around 3 Eastern is the best time for wins on Amazon. And then prior to that, 2 Eastern and also 12 Eastern. 10 Eastern is also pretty decent. But there's been a lot of insider selling on Amazon, but I still think this is a really great company. That likely has a lot to do with tariffs and people just taking profits. But I still think that this is a great long-term buy versus a day trade. But as always, I'm going to give you some levels just in case. All right, now we have actually already filled a gap down to 192.05 on Amazon. But if we do keep pushing up, based on what I'm seeing here, take calls right at about 193.36 with a 194.43 price target. If we break that, we fly. And it looks like if we go down, I would take puts at 192.07 with roughly a 191.02 price target. All right. But I'm not expecting it to break that range unless something great happens in the news today. All right. Put this down. I stopped writing the list. All right. All right. So moving on to the next one. All right. Looks like okay, there's Junior. Can you please take a look at Oklo? Sure. All right, so Oklo has earnings on Tuesday. Now it looks pretty consolidated. I'm actually still in I think a call out to June on Oklo. They were up about 10% on yesterday. Again, as more talk happens with AI, I think this thing is run. This thing will run. Also, with energy being a top concern, I think Oklo is still a really great long-term play. But again, because earnings are happening on Tuesday, expect the implied volatility to be ridiculous. Okay, I'm going to zoom out to this 390-minute time frame, and it looks like there's downside liquidity at 266.44. So if we fall down below that level, I would actually grab a put with a price target of 25.70. They may try to liquidate some calls on this thing. Again, I would just be careful. But if we do push up, we need to break 27.66 for a call option entry with a target of about 29.23. If we zoom out, take a look at the weekly, we can see that we're well off of that prior high when there was a lot of buying volume on here. There's still $11.2 million in volume. 11.2 million in average volume traded on this thing. And we had a high of about 59.91. Maybe after earnings, it could send it back to that level. But right now, again, I would just be very careful because there is earnings coming up Tuesday. Momentum does look bullish at the moment, but it also looks pretty consolidated as well. And right now, we're just only slightly up. Again, energy is a top concern right now and actually gaining a lot of attraction. So Oklo is going to be a great play. Again, for swing trading, I would also just focus on energy overall. Sorry, I didn't mean to go here. And taking a look at energy, of course, you could trade XLE as the ETF if you want to. But if you go to sector spiders, which is what we talk about a lot in the Ready, you can see what energy stocks were moving in addition to, say, Oklo, right? So you might want to screenshot these right now. You got APE, CTRA, Halliburton, Devon, EXE, TPL, FANG, Oxy, EQT, and CVX also moving. But I think Oklo is solid. And I would also encourage you to maybe see what other proxies you can look at for in comparison to Oklo, because anything in that sector will also start to move. So some of our proxy plays, is it going to open any? I guess it's not. It doesn't have any details for us here. Am I logged in? Should be. All right, so there are no similarities on this one, but I know where we can go and find some. So let's go over to investing.com. All right, so there's so many sources out here. Oklo. All right, so we'll go to analysis. I'll just click on this here first. All right, here we go. News and analysis. All right, so this is still listed as a strong buy. I wanted to see if it had any comparisons on it. I thought it was on this one. Oh, well, but this is still listed as a buy for swings, and I do think it's still a good play for the long term. But again, with earnings coming up, I would just be very careful, okay? Just be very, very careful with that, okay? Ranger wants me to take a look at RTX. All right. All right, so RTX has had a little bit of fluctuations because this is definitely a war play. It is mostly bullish on even intraday. It actually pushed up a little bit here. You know, we had the attack that took, well, the strike, as they're calling it, that took place between India and Pakistan earlier this week. And just wars, I pray we don't go there, but it's just something that we always have to keep in mind. And a lot of money's made in wars. RTX is one of those tickers that could benefit from it. As I'm looking at it, does look kind of bearish on this particular time frame, but it's moving up a little bit pre-market today. I would actually start watching it, not entering calls, but watching at 129.42 if you're looking for upward momentum. 129.42 with a target of 130.03. Maybe even grab some calls for a quick squeeze at 129.59 to reach that 130 price target. The Fibonacci's do look bullish right now, but again, it just looks very consolidated on the shorter time frames. I really don't like it for day trading. This is more of a swing trade type thing. But again, it's an uncertain play because, again, this could only move if there's a physical act of war. And the hope is that we don't even go there. Downside liquidity is at 127.37 on RTX. So, of course, that would be my downside target. If it does go down, I'm looking at put option entry right here, roughly around 128.44. If I were to make a trading plan on this thing. But again, it's just so consolidated and I wouldn't expect a whole lot from it. Now, analysts do list this as a buy, but RTX also could benefit if they do start talking about artificial intelligence and the bubble kind of burst right now. So that would actually cause it to go back up. Also, if they introduce some additional or newer technology, I think that would also be pretty solid for RTX. They're saying 137.95 by the end of the year. But again, I just believe that with this and some of the other war-like plays that there needs to be a catalyst. Now, if they were just, doing a specific things, planes or something like that, I think it'd be fine. Like Boeing has just planes. I think that would be good. But the best way I think to play this, it would be to buy the DFIN ETF, either by shares or a long-term option, or SHIELD, SHLD, but they all look like they're pulling back as well and also consolidating, even though they were up nicely on yesterday, right? Because, again, there's just a lot of uncertainty when it comes down to war. And there's also a lot of volume on RTX as well. That's just my thoughts on it, Ranger. But, again, you can make it do what it do. All right, so let's take a look at Robinhood. We got roughly about 10 minutes. Looking at Robinhood, we're at 55.17 this morning, man. Robinhood has been cooking. But I think it's going to go a lot higher. All right. So we had a sell signal that came in briefly here early this morning around 5. And it possibly could consolidate. I don't think Robinhood's going to pull back that much, but $54 would be my support right around 54.01 and maybe a low of 53.80 if it does pull back. But I think it's going to stay where it is for the most part and keep pushing up. I think this is a great swing trade. You're probably going to see $60, $70, if not higher, on Robinhood in the very near future. All right. There's just liquidity here at that 54.85. So, if it does come down, I think, maybe that would be the bare minimum. Well, not bare minimum, but the start of the bottom. We zoom out here looking at our weekly. It has bearish Fibonacci's, but once we break 55.99, I think that we push up to at least 58.85 and then revisit that high that we previously had around 66.91. So if you got leaps on Robinhood, I think that you'll be fine. But in the meantime, there's a little bit of consolidation. I think these are some prior gaps that I had here on my chart, those lines. I'm probably going to just delete them now. But those are some prior gaps that I had mapped out. But we can see that there's also a gap down here on the daily from 51.53 to about 50.61. All right. Now, if we happen to lose that support level of 53.80, that would potentially be my target. But again, I think there has to be something volatile to happen across the market. I think Robinhood is a really great swing trade. Okay. July 30th, they have earnings again. We saw the great news that they released. This is also listed as a strong buy on technicals. Analysts call for a $58.17 price target. Let's see if I can give you guys some more details on this. Some things they don't pull up here on Trading Ticks. Let's see. All right, similar tickers, ARKF, Fin, Coin, PFI. So if Coin pulls back, it could affect Robinhood a little bit. Seasonality for Robinhood is very bullish in May, 75% win rate, and only a 66% win rate in June. So this could shift with the new things that they rolled out. Typically, Wednesdays and Fridays appear to be the most bullish days. Also Mondays for Robinhood. Also 12 Eastern and 2 Eastern seem to be the most bullish times of the day for Robinhood. Mixture of insider selling and buying here. But again, I think this is a really good swing trade, Marquise. I know you got a signal that you dropped in the red E. All right. Robert wants me to take a look at Wolf. Good morning to you, Robert. Now, Wolf had earnings, I believe, this morning, and CleanSpark actually did not do good on their earnings. I'm not in shares or calls on CleanSpark, but Wolf actually is down 6% this morning, creating another long-term buying opportunity. Again, this is a crypto mining stock, and again, depending on what happens with Bitcoin when it goes up, I think that will cause a catalyst for momentum to push this thing back up. But we've got a death cross. It looks like we caught some support on Wolf around $3.01. But if we lose that support, it might get ugly up in here, right? Looking at the 195-minute time frame, there's the bottom of support is $2.86, but there's liquidity right there at $2.98. Again, I mean, this is a penny stock, and we know that Bitcoin is nowhere near where it is headed, right? I haven't even looked at Bitcoin. We looked at the overall crypto, but I'm going to go ahead and just slide this in here since we're talking about it. It's at 103.28, and it's consolidated right now. Bitcoin now needs to break about $104,426 for it to run to the upside. Could lose a little bit of support if we go to 102,395 and then maybe push down to 101,718, which I see that as a key level of support right now. If we zoom out a little bit more to the daily, we had a high of about 104. And again, our prior high was around 109,565. We can look at the weekly and see that. So if we could break that 109, then we're going to the moon on Bitcoin. But right now, it does look very bullish. But again, with the earnings that came out for Wolf and CleanSpark on yesterday, and even Coinbase, I think most of our mining plays are down. Okay, so if you want to be long on it, this creates a good opportunity to load up on shares, but it could come down just a little bit more. All right. Good morning to you, Tino. Good to see you, my brother. Cheryl, Ocean Power Tech, please. Right. What is that one again? Ocean Power Tech, OPTT, right? It's been a while since I looked at this one. This is another penny stock for the one that was asking about penny stocks earlier. It's at 46 cents right now. This is, I guess, the technology is just not. We're kind of ahead of ourselves, if you will. They haven't adopted that water tech yet. It looks mostly bearish, but actually pushing up off of the lows. OPTT creates a good buying opportunity at 51 cents a share to push it to maybe about 63 cents for a squeeze. But as we look at the shorter time frames, it's slightly moving, but we're just not there yet. The volatility is just on 10 with this particular stock. But if we think about energy being a possible play, I think this is a great lotto position to have for shares just to hold for a long term, especially considering the fact that they're so cheap. It's at $2. It's up 2.4% right now. Analysts actually list this as a buy, but they don't have a price point on it. I know we've looked at OPTT before, and it ran up for us once before as well. I just don't see it pushing up entirely right now. But again, that 51 cents could maybe push us to about 52 cents, maybe up to 63 cents. Our prior high that we did see once was about 175. So I would love to see it revisit that. But all in all, it looks mostly bearish on the weekly. Doesn't look like it's going to run up just yet. Earnings, let's see when that's happening for them. It's not even listed. So let's take a look and see when earnings take place for OPTT, because that could be a catalyst to drive it up. Sorry. All right, OPTT. So June the 16th. So maybe we could see some momentum coming to that by that particular date. But OPTT doesn't look like it wants to make any power moves just yet. Okay, no pun intended. All right, next one was Nvidia. Can you take a look at Nvidia? Sure, Crystal, I got you. All right, so looking at Nvidia right now, we did see a lot of lotto plays at that 120 strike being bought on Nvidia. Like I said, today's market is not yesterday's market. We've had a lot of profit taken right now, but Nvidia is actually on a slight downtrend because of some support at that 117. If we lose this 117, I would actually start watching at 117.27 for a put option price target of about 116.97 to the downside. But it looks like it's probably going to consolidate before it falls. If we do push up, I would not get in any calls until we break that 118.11, and then I have that 119.57 price target. We filled a gap down already on Nvidia, but I think Nvidia still is a good long-term buy when we think about artificial intelligence and semiconductors and so much more. Tech, period. Nvidia is that one, right? 290.4 million in average volume over the past 30 days and 2.86 trillion in market capitalization, right? So this is a pretty solid play for swings, but understand the volatility is going to be there. If we look at the analyst rating, of course, they say 160 by the end of the year. And then I'm going to go ahead and let you get some seasonality on Nvidia real quick. And I'll actually end up pulling up the options for you as well, because I do like this play a lot. Also similar tickers, SOXL, SMH, as you already know, TQQ, SMH, we already said that one. XLK, that's the SPY or Spiders, Sector Spiders ETF for this. Another way you can play it. Looking at seasonality, May, it has a 65% win rate, August, an 80% win rate, November, a 75% win rate, and then February had an 80% win rate. So if you're buying those leaps right now, I think that you might cook on those and just average in it every time that it does pull back if you choose to do that. That's not financial advice, just some wisdom I would drop on you. Mondays, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays tend to be more bullish days for Nvidia, and the hourly seasonality around 2 p.m. seems to be pretty bullish. 11 a.m. seems to be pretty bullish as well for Nvidia. But this one is definitely a longer term play. Good swing trade. It's an investment more so than a day trade, but you can catch some snipes on Nvidia as well. Real quick, I did get an alert come in on SPY that I'll pull right back up in just a minute. There's my time, Jesus. All right, so real quick, I want you to get these. I want you to just screenshot this for those of you Nvidia lovers out here. So they're buying the $100 calls May 30th, 115 calls June 20th, 140 calls December 17, 2027. You dig? And then those March 20th, 2026, 115 calls as well. All right. So a lot of call options being bought on Nvidia, and that is lovely, right? So good morning to each of you guys as well. And I saw a lot of you guys are asking questions I couldn't get to, but it is time for me to make sure that my kids don't get snatched from the bus stop, right? So I got to go out here and slide out and be with the children. But make sure that you lock in with us in the Red E Society, y'all. We had a big announcement drop yesterday. I wish I could pull it up. I think I actually can, but it probably won't play the sound. But yeah, I'll probably have that ready for you guys next week. But if you're part of the Red E Society, you have access to sign up for a free mentorship with me. And again, you can do that by going over to my website, www.rogers1906.com. Join the Red E Society today. You can use discount code 5OFF at checkout. And then, of course, you'll have a much less price than you would be paying if you just clicked and just joined, right? If you have the Elite Traders Blueprint, there's a discount code just for you. So again, we would love to have you come and be a part of our family, because today we are going to cook. But most importantly, we're going to keep God first, and then we're going to secure the bag. And if you caught us late, I want to give you guys this just one more time to save this scripture. Save this scripture right now. Proverbs 3, 5, 6, and 7. Before you start trading, go and lock this into your mindset each and every morning. Each and every morning. Don't leave it out. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not to your own understanding. In all your ways submit to him, and he will make your path straight. Do not be wise in your own eyes. Fear the Lord and shun from evil. Shun from evil. Look, make sure that y'all stay ready so you never have to get ready. Have a great day. Oh, and happy Mother's Day.